guys, my name is Rachny Toem, and today my group and I are going to talk about three patterns of misrepresentation in the movie 2012 Geostorm and Hurricane Haze.
Hello, my name is Ashley Magana, and today the films that we're going to be overviewing is the films Hurricane Heist, which came out in 2018, 2012, which came out in 2009, and Geostorm, which came out in 2017. And the three patterns that we're going to be focusing on today is Pattern 3, Portrayal of Gender-Based Roles, Pattern 4, Male Aggressiveness and Female Cooperation, and Pattern 8, Social Class Stigma. Thank you. In the film 2012, there was a high misrepresentation of portrayal of gender-based roles amongst the characters. For example, Kate, Jackson's ex-wife, was said to put her medical school dreams on hold due to having her kids while her ex-husband was working on his book. And another example of this is that you could see right before the earthquake happened is that Kate is working and tending towards her kids for a busy Saturday, while the audience could clearly see Stu, the husband, getting ready to go to work in his scrubs.
The father of my children.
Oh, come on, Kate. You gave up med school so you could have Noah. Then you practically raised him and Lily by yourself while he sat glued to a laptop writing that junk.
It's not junk.
In the film Geostorm, the higher up positions were held by men. For example, the House of Committees were full of men, and also most of the astronauts were men as well. In addition, Olivia Lawson, which is Jake's ex-wife, appears in one scene, and it only shows her being motherly towards her daughter. And in this way, this kind of shows this whole stereotype of men and female having different gender-based roles. In the film The Hurricane Heist, which was released back in 2018, it had a couple gender stereotypes just because this is an action movie, and technically since it's similarly to Fast and the Furious, of course there's going to be a damsel in distress. Casey Corbin, which was the main federal agent, she was kidnapped and was held for a ransom, and because of that the brothers Will and Breeze were able to save her. In addition to that, Breeze was a maintenance man and an ex-Marine, and also Will was a meteorologist who were in charge of fixing some machine apparatus. The film 2012 had demonstrated Pattern 4 recessively through Laura, who was the president's daughter, was needed to be seen taking care of everyone in the Ark and comforted by Adrian, the meteorologist, when her father passed away. In addition to that, Sasha and Stu, who were the two main pilots, were the ones driving the planes, and the men were typically leading the situations, while the women, such as Tamara and Kate, were in the passenger area with the kids. The film Geostorm also showed Pattern 4. For example, Agent Sarah Wilson and Dana cooperate to acquire the code. So in a way, it kind of shows how the men was ordering the women around and being aggressive towards them. An example also for the aggressiveness with males also shows Jake Lawson and the House Committee member arguing in front of the house.
For the pattern of social class, we notice that in Geostorm there is separation of authority between people of higher position like the President, Secretary of State Deckham, and people of lower position like Jake Lawson, Max Lawson, Dana, the cybersecurity expert, Chuck Long, the Hong Kong-based supervisor for the dodgeball program, and other crew member of the ICSS. In this movie, Deckham was behind the destruction of Dutch Boy. He hired one of the astronauts to create and upload the virus to the satellites, which causes some of the major cities around the world all kind of disasters. And the reason was that he will be able to wipe out all the countries that are the enemy and take over the position of the presidents of the United States. To complement his plan, he also hired the Lawson brothers to investigate what he knew was never going to be solved. This action clearly indicates how much power a person has and the difference of social class. Here are a few scenes in the movie that show the pattern of social class.
You are implicating the Secretary of State in this. You realize you're committing treason?
Oh yeah, I kidnapped the president, I've stolen state secrets. Yeah, I don't think I'm forgetting, honey.
Honey?
Guilty.
It took years for Deckham to plan this, sir. President's schedule always changes last minute. This is the one day and date he could be sure wouldn't move.
Having my brother and I lead the investigation was a setup from the start. Think about it. He hired us to fail.
Do it.
Well, you know what us lowly scientists get paid? Take that times 1,000. difference is it gonna make? If you don't stop, there's not gonna be a planet to spend it on.
Please. We're gonna keep all the best bits. Aren't you a little bit curious to watch the world burn?
I've given you an opportunity, Mr. President. You should take it.
An opportunity? Let him go. It's genocide, Leonard.
You say genocide, I say preemptive strike.
You've lost your mind.
Tomorrow, the sun will rise, all our enemies will be gone. Wiped away as if by the hand of God.
Why would you do this?
Because no one else would. I'm turning the clock back to 1945, when America was a shining city on a hill, not just a bank disguised as a country.
By playing God.
What the hell is Dutch boy if not playing God? Ask Max, he knows. Science is all about playing God.
So the pattern of social class in the movie 2012 is the family that survived was from an upper middle class, since Stu was a plastic surgeon and the family lived in suburban Los Angeles. And along the way, the family were able to get through from one disaster to another, also because Jackson has connection by working for Yuri's family. One of Yuri's twins was mocking Jackson, telling him they were going to live and he was going to die because they had the money for a place on a big ship.
Curtis.
Hey, have a safe trip, you little bastards.
Now you're laughing, Curtis. But we have tickets to go on a big ship. We will live and you will die.
There was also a clear distinction in which if you were a billionaire, you would most likely survive the disaster, since the ticket cost 1 billion euros per seat in the Ark.
So tell me, Mr. Karpov, how much did you pay?
1 billion euro per seat.
That's disgusting.
How are all these people chosen?
Same way your art was. By experts from all over the world. We had geneticists determine the perfect gene pool we need to repopulate.
These people were chosen by geneticists?
All green card holders, please proceed to gallery D4.
Looks to me like their checkbooks got them on board.
That's right, Dr. Wilson. Without billions of dollars from the private sector, this entire operation would have been impossible.
We sold tickets. What about all these workers? They all get passes?
What? Life isn't fair? Is that it? You want to donate your passes to a couple of Chinese workers? You be my guest.
Many of the people building the arks from lower class were looked down upon by the government, and the government knew they were going to die, and some still were not willing to do anything about it.
I know we've all been forced to make difficult decisions to save our human civilization. But to be human means to care for each other, and civilization means to work together to create a better life. If that's true, then there's nothing human and nothing civilized about what we're doing here.
Dr. Helmsley's passion is admirable, but I will remind you that we have very limited resources and extremely limited time.
Ask yourselves, can we really stand by and watch these people die? I read a quote 2 days ago. The author is probably dead by now, but he said the moment we stop fighting for each other, that's the moment that we lose our humanity.
And in order to save the human race, we have an obligation to stick to this plan, which every nation on this flotilla has signed off for. They're in God's hands now. Officer, you turn that off. That is an order, sailor. Turn it off!
Fortunately, in the end, they realized the importance of humanity and decided to open the gates.
The people of Russia, along with China and Japan, agree to open the gates.
The United Kingdom, Spain, France, Canada, Germany, and I believe I may also speak for the Italian Prime Minister. We vote to let these people come in.
As for the hurricane haze, the social class pattern that we notice is white male sheriff corruptly use his power of authority, and since he is from a higher social power, he tricks Will and Kobe and try to gain access to all $600 million.
Since many of these films were released in 2010s, I would expect Hollywood teams to stop assigning gender-based stereotypes, but since they haven't, I guess I would change, like for Hurricane Heist, to include more women in higher positions. In addition to that, I probably would swap maybe one of the genders of the siblings, and maybe having a brother and a sister, or maybe two sisters, rather than having it two brothers be always the saviors. And in the film 2012, maybe I would change the family up a bit, maybe have them be from a different background, different social class, maybe having them be from East Los Angeles instead of having them be from the West LA, such as Beverly Hills. And I would possibly maybe have the mother look more middle aged, maybe in her like mid 40s, late 40s, and possibly have her be more protective, more wiser, and more taking charge of her kids and getting her family to safety. In the film Geostorm, I would make sure that there are more females in more dominant jobs and having more female politicians in the film as well. In the films, we would recast new casts. For example, the females would be domineering alpha females such as Zoe Saldana, Michelle Rodriguez, Jane Lynch, Regina King, etc., to be the main leaders to save the world. And for the males, we would also have actors such as Michael Pena, Jesse Eisenberg, Avon Jongoya, etc., portraying the submissive leaders who also have really good job positions as well.
Many of the audience of these action films are typically boys from age 7 to 11 and have the highest demographic for action movies according to Stephen Fellows. Most likely, if they see this behavior, this enables them that if they are aggressive to women, the women are going to be submissive and do everything that they say, which is not true, and unfortunately teaches male that this behavior is okay. Many young girls may see this type of scenarios of the macho males giving the order to the females in order to ensure safety. This reinforces the damsel in distress scenario in all different types of movies, regardless of genres, and teaches young girls to listen to males and to do what is told, which is not the case.
As demonstrated in the articles by both McKinnon and Anderson, these main protagonists are typically heterosexual males who are either typically fathers, white males, and are very aggressive and assertive in their households. And because of this has shown the demographics that in order to survive a disaster movie, you must be either under those qualifications to be deemed as the survivor and the good guy. And unfortunately, that's not always the case, because this kind of shows to other minorities, and backgrounds are not always shown because they feel like they're not ever represented well. And unfortunately, it also shows their stereotypes, or unfortunately, these backgrounds and minorities are typically the first characters to die or not being cared about.